Good evening. It's good to be back. Where it all started. Remember, Pastor mentioned it to me, bringing a tea bag. That was the first message I ever spoke or preached was here, and it was about the three types of Christians, and did a little illustration. But I'll give you a quick testimony real quick. A lot's changed since last time. I think about a year ago I was here. But first year of college went great. It was much more than I ever expected. Bus route was awesome. I got to go with Keegan. We got to do a lot up there. Got to meet some new people. And one of my favorite things about college is every single day we have chapel, and it's always a different preacher. So we get preaching every single day, sometimes twice a day, and it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. We got the chance to go to New Manna Youth Rally. I don't know if many people know who Tony Shirley is, but he's a preacher from North Carolina. And if you ever get a chance to go to the New Manna Youth Rally, you should definitely go because they really bring the heat down there. The preaching's awesome. But I'm going to be preaching tonight on Samson, specifically the snares that seize Samson. We're going to be in Judges 14 through 16. We're going to be bouncing around a little bit. But I think most of us know the story of Samson. Samson, he was one of the strongest men to ever live. But it wasn't by his muscle, it was by the presence of the Lord. But I know it doesn't say in the Bible, but I like to think about some of these things sometimes. I don't think Samson was a very muscular man. I really don't. I don't think he was this big he-man you picture, because then it wouldn't be as magnificent, because you'd be like, okay, he's strong. I expect him to be able to do these things. But I see him more of an average man, you know what I mean? Because I see this, because nothing he did was him, it was by God. But we're going to start off, number one, the first snare was he could not take a no. Judges 14:1 says, "And Samson went down to Timnath and saw a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. And he came up and told his father and his mother and said, I have seen a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore get her for me to wife. Then his father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren, or among all my people, that thou goest to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistine? And Samson said unto his father, Get her for me, and because she pleaseth me well." I'm sorry. But you see, Samson couldn't take a no from his parents. And I've learned in my life, sometimes when your parents tell you no, just listen to them. They've been there, they've seen it, they know what's coming next. But as we see, Samson did not take the no, and he kept pushing for what he wanted. And eventually he did get what he wanted. He got what he wanted, and come to find out, his parents were right. It was not what he wanted at all. And my dad always said it's better to want what you don't have than to not want what you do have. I'm sorry. Verse 9 says in chapter 14, it says, "And he took thereof in his hands and went on eating, and came to his father and mother, and he gave them which he did eat. But he told them not that he had taken the honey out of the carcass of a lion." So we know here he's taken the Nazirite vow. So the Nazirite vow, he can't cut his hair, he can't eat any unclean meat, and he can't touch wine or alcohol. Yeah, I'm sorry. So that's from an unclean beast. So he's not supposed to take this. But he sees it, and he can't even tell himself no. And he takes it, and he takes it back to his parents, whom he doesn't even tell them where it's from. So not being able to take no from other people will lead to you not being able to tell yourself no. And as you get older, you're going to find out there's a lot of stuff that if you just tell yourself no, it's going to save you from a lot of heartache and hardships. In today's world, you just see people. I mean, we're at a very big decline just because people can't tell themselves no. And it's just, you get by yourself and you get in a moment of weakness and you're disciplined, and all the stuff that you've set your ways in is what's going to keep you strong. And if you can't tell yourself no, you're going to fall. Number 2, his lustful desire for women. 14:3 says, "Then his father and mother said unto him, Is there never a woman Is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren, or among all the people, that thou goest to take a wife, an uncircumcised Philistine? And Samson said unto his father, Get her for me, for she pleaseth me. That means that she was pleasing to his eyes. He liked what he saw. He went solely off what he thought and not what his parents advised him to. And she's a Philistine, so we know she's not a Christian. We know she's not saved. She would definitely not be the Lord's will for Samson. Chapter 16:1 says, Then went Samson to Gaza, and saw there an harlot, and went in unto her. Here we go. There's two. There's two women. He's already found him another one, and he couldn't control himself and tell himself no to not go in unto her. And then 16:4, And it came to pass afterward that he loved a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. So there we see, in the course of 2 chapters, he's already gone through 3 women. And it says in the Bible that it's one man and one wife for one lifetime. And I believe that. But you see, all of this is a result of the first one. He could not tell himself no. He wasn't happy with one wife, so he just left her and moved on to the next. So we need to learn to tell ourselves no sometimes. Number 3, pride and self-confidence. Chapter 14:2 says, 14:12. And Samson said unto them, I will now put forth a riddle unto you. If ye can certainly declare it me within 7 days of the feast, and find it out, then will I give you 30 sheets and 30 change of garments. And that riddle is based on the sin that he committed whenever he took the honey from the lion's mouth. And now he's kind of bragging about it. He's starting to brag about his sin, but he's not being very obvious about it, if you understand what I'm saying. So now he's starting to brag about his sin, and he's starting to become prideful about it, which there's never any pride in sin. There should be shame in sin. It says in 16:20, and she said, The Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awoke out of his sleep, and he said, I will go out as the other times before, and shake myself. And he wist not that the Lord had departed from him. So he was so confident and so prideful in himself, he didn't even know the presence of the Lord left him. I can only think of how many times I've done that. You get up to sing or you get up to preach, and you didn't pray for the power of the Lord. It's like, oh, this will just be like the last time. And then you get smoked and you don't have any words. That happened to me one night at junior camp. I got to preach a week at junior camp. I got up and I was not ready. I was trying to do it by myself, and the Lord took my words. I had nothing. But we can't become self-confident. We can't have self-confidence and pride because there is no such thing as self-made. Everything we do is from the Lord. And that's one thing, the Lord will never do anything for us to bring us self-gain on that. Everything in the end is for Him. There's no personal gain. Number 4, it says that he spent a lot of time around the world. And as we see, he went to Timnath to find his first wife. He went to Gaza to find the harlot. He went to the valley of Sorek to find Delilah. And so he obviously became comfortable in the world. I mean, you saw here, he offered a riddle to these guys, and he was joking around with them and having fun. He was supposed to be a judge, by the way. He was sent there to judge these people, and he's sitting down doing all this stuff. And that's the thing. It's so crazy. We look and we're like, oh, why is the world going the way it's going? It's because we're loosening our standards. And we're starting to hang out with the world more, and we're moving the line closer and closer and closer. And, oh, it's not that bad. It's just music. It's not that bad. It's just the way I dress. No, it is bad. The Lord says it is. And the more we push towards the world, the slower you'll desensitize yourself to where you don't even realize it. You won't even, like Pastor said with music, it's crazy how Christian music is going so crazy. Like you got these songs, there's one called Holy Water. There's nothing scriptural about holy water, but yet we'll play it because they say the word Jesus in it. We're losing our standards slowly, and we're wondering why the country's going to hell in a handbasket. It's partially our fault. We need to step up and take back the country with our standards. We need to abide by the book and not what we think. Because at the end of the day, what we think doesn't matter. It matters what the Lord said. Number 5, he was comfortable with deceit. Chapter 14, verse 9 says, "And he took thereof in his hands, and he went on eating, and came to his father and mother, and he gave them, and they did eat. But he told not them that he did take the honey out of the carcass of the lion." So he went home, like we said earlier, he wasn't supposed to touch this honey because he'd taken the vow. But he gave it to his parents, and it doesn't say whether they asked where it came from. But he deceived his parents because they weren't supposed to eat it either. And one of the preachers said this weekend at a conference I was at, he said, "What they don't know can hurt you." And that is so true. He said that, and I was like, wow. Because have you ever done that? Like, you don't tell someone something you did, and they don't know. It's not hurting them, but it's just eating you. It's eating you and eating you. And what they don't know can hurt you. And, we see he was very comfortable lying to Delilah multiple times. And now here's the thing. I know you're saying, it was good that he lied to her because he couldn't cut his hair. Well, if he would have stayed in God's will and not got with her in the first place, he would have never had to lie in the first place. So we see there, if he would have stayed true, told himself no, not given into the lust of the flesh, he would have never had to deal with that in the first place. You can avoid a lot of heartache just by not even messing with that stuff. So many Christians today become comfortable with deceit and keeping things from others. Especially my parents. There's stuff I didn't tell my parents. It's just, it may not have been a big deal to me, but it was. I shamefully will say it. I lied to my parents all the time about stuff. And sometimes, this is going to sound stupid, but it's not even on purpose, I guess. But it's like, she'll say something, I'll just be like, no. I didn't even hear what she said. It's like, so I myself, I became comfortable in lying. It's just like, it sometimes becomes second nature, you know what I mean? You just do it, or to tell a cool story or a fisherman's tale. But also, giving a half-truth is also lying. Because like we saw here, yes, he did find this honey. Technically, he did find it, but he didn't tell where or how he found it. Number 6, we have the lack of respect for his parents. 14:1-3, once again, it says, "And Samson went down to Timnath and saw a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. And he came up and told his father and his mother and said, I have seen a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore get her for me to wife. Then his father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren, or among all my people, that thou goest to take a wife of an uncircumcised Philistine? And Samson said unto his father, Get her for me, for she pleases me well." So we see there he didn't respect or honor his parents' guidance, which, like I said earlier, it led him to a lot of problems. And it's crazy because we'll think, oh, they're older, they don't understand this generation. No, they've seen a lot of this stuff coming. It's just in a different form. Trust me, they know what they're talking about. It may not seem like it. It may seem like they're trying to keep you from your fun, but they're not. They're trying to keep you from some mess-ups. Little let-ups are big mess-ups. That's one thing Brother Charlie always says. And you may not think it's big, but that little decision can affect you so bad down the road. But his parents, they wanted him to stay with someone, it says of thy brethren. It wants them to stay with someone of their belief. Like we're not supposed to be unequally yoked with unbelievers. So you need to be saved with saved, and there's no such thing as evangelistic dating. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, that's just my belief. If you disagree with me, but I don't believe that they call it flirt to convert. I don't believe that's a thing. Yes, you can pray for them that they get saved, but I don't believe that we should be trying to save the sinners by marrying them. I don't think that's safe, because one rotten apple will ruin the whole bunch. But I also believe that he didn't fully appreciate what his parents had done for him to be in the position they were in. Just the stuff that they'd given up, the stuff that they'd done. And I believe that his parents would be spiritual people, and they would know because they talk to the Lord, they pray, and they wouldn't just give him an answer. That's another thing. My parents, and I had a pretty big decision last semester, and I had my parents pray about it. I had a bunch of people pray about it for me before I moved forward, and I really wanted to know, like, you know what I mean? So I wanted to rush it, but I wanted to wait, and I knew my parents would pray for me, so they're the first place I went. But he had a godly heritage that he forsaked, and he lacked respect for that, and it led to a rebellious spirit that would lead him to an unnecessarily destructive end. See, he didn't have to go out the way he did. He really didn't. I mean, but what led him all to that was he couldn't tell himself no, and he had, to his lustful desire to women. He couldn't control his pride, which I know that's hard for a lot of us. It's hard for me. College, we were playing football. It was just a scrimmage. We were just having fun. Keegan's laughing because he knows what I'm about to say. We were just having fun. We were just scrimmaging. It was the young guys versus the older guys. The first 2 years versus the second 2. And fourth play of the game, I went to come around the side, and I got my knee absolutely messed up. I tore my meniscus and my PCL, and I guarantee you it was because of pride, because I wasn't reading my Bible the way I should. I wasn't praying the way I should, because I got this. I got this. I don't need nobody. But trust me, with one leg, you do need people. You need a lot of people. But no, it's just, you don't have to live with scars if you listen the first time. Just heed those who have done it before you. Listen to them. I've always been told a wise man learns from other people's mistakes. Just listen to those who come before you and listen to the godly counsel you've had. And those of us who have been raised in godly homes, we have no excuse. There's no, I never had this, I never saw this. But sorry, I got a little off there. But no, so we see Samson. We're going to go back. We see he couldn't take no, which was one. He got a lustful desire for women. He had a pride and self-confidence. He spent a lot of time in the world, and he was comfortable with deceit, and he had a lack of respect for his parents and authorities. But no, so you see how that story ends. So he goes through, she cuts his hair, they take him in, they gouge his eyes out, and then in the end, the Lord gives him one more chance. He gives him one more chance to do something for him, and it ends up costing him his life. But everything that happens in your life will happen for a reason, whether it's good or bad. There's always a result of decisions, and the decisions you make will determine how, I'm not going to say easy, but how your path is. And so, like we said, Samson did not have to meet this end, but the Lord had to teach him a lesson. But all right, so dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for a great evening, Lord. Just thank you for all that you've done, Lord. Thank you for bringing me back to BBT another time. Thank you for all that you're going to do with this upcoming semester. I'm very excited to go back, Lord. Just please bless this church, Lord. Thank you for them. They've done so much for me. Thank you for Pastor Mattis, Lord, as he's been a very big role model in my life, Lord. Just help us to go out of here with a flame, Lord. Please, God, help us to want to be different, Lord. The world wants to be different, but help us to be different from the world. Just please, God, be with me and Keegan as we go back to Vision, Lord. Help us to burn for you, Lord, as we want to see you do something, Lord. Please, God, revive our country, Lord. Just help us as we leave here tonight. In Jesus' name, amen.
You know, a lot of people would be jealous of Samson's strength and reputation, and yet the small things, like listening to your parents, small things like saying no to yourself. I mean, we just live in a world where nobody can say no. I mean, it's amazing. Even seeing the train coming down the track, we'll walk right out on the track hoping that it breaks down. hoping that it derails. I mean, it's amazing what I'm not old, but I'm old enough to know that how much our culture's changed in my lifetime. And it's just amazing. And, at the end of his story there with Samson, the scripture says that he killed more Philistines in his death than he did in his life. He was to judge Israel, and in judging Israel, deal with their enemies, the Philistines. But he didn't really do that. He spent his whole life taking care of Samson. And so God just arranged that even his destruction dealt with the Philistines, and God's power was glorified. I believe this with all my heart. God's going to get his glory out of us, whether it's through us doing things in blessings or whether it's us being an example of the judgment of God. God will get his glory if we belong to him. Why wouldn't we want him to get it as the judge and not as the prisoner, with our eyes gouged out, pulling down the pillars and killing a lot of people while we kill ourselves? And so I would rather serve the Lord in life than to have to serve him in suicide because I've messed my life up so much. That's the only way he's going to get the glory. So Samson's life, it's a real lesson in God using us no matter what. And just because everybody else's life's messed up doesn't mean ours has to be. And just because you do the right thing doesn't mean it'll be easy. But I guarantee you can put a lot of extra weight on your Christian life by poor decisions. And what's the statement about the little things? Little let-ups are big mess-ups. Wow. I wish I'd have, I mean, that's a RU principle. The small things lead to the big sins. The small sins lead to big sins. But boy, those little let-ups do lead to the mess-ups. And that's why we've gotten so comfortable with letting up. And next thing you know, you got a big mess-up. And so appreciate that challenge and the snares